We are live here at the studio by Feast It Forward on a beautiful Saturday, and I have Chef Da Fonseca.
That's right.
Right?
Close.
Chef Almir.
Yeah.
And I am super excited about today because typically I know something about the cuisine that I'm learning about, and I know absolutely nothing about Brazilian cuisine. And so I'm extremely excited for you to educate me because this is culinary cooking culture, and so it's all about bringing chefs in here to talk about their culinary inspiration, and we're going to learn all about that today. But let's do a celebratory cheers. Cheers, Chef. Thank you for joining. This is a brand new rosé we have here at the studio. So for those of you watching at home and you haven't been here, come to downtown Napa. We've got 15 vintners downstairs. You can have by the glass bottle, and then you can come up here for a live studio audience
It's a beautiful
and hang
studio.
out with somebody such as yourself.
Thanks so much for the invite. I'm so excited. Yeah.
So, okay, first of all, this is like the most beautiful scape that we have had on camera of any chef coming in here. I mean, it's like it's a rainbow of culinary colors, and everything has a story, and that's what's very fascinating for me to learn about every single nook and cranny. Alongside all of these items are these gorgeous apothecaries that typically I hand over an OXO bowl, and they fill it, and they put the mise en place in there, and
then
now
all set.
So tell me everything. I want to learn everything.
Sounds great. Well, I'm originally from Brazil. So I left Brazil when I was 18 years old to study marine biology, and I started an apprenticeship in a French kitchen and became a chef.
So I turned marine biology.
Yeah, I came over here to learn marine biology, and then I got stuck in the kitchen. I found my calling there. However, in '91, I started my research on what I call now the Brazil Project. So I got to a point in my career that wasn't acceptable to me not to know a lot about my original cuisine, because I was seeing flavors coming out of my sauces and my dishes and things like that. So I started to research, and I started to travel Brazil, every single state, every single region, at least twice. The Amazon region, on point to point on the Amazon forest for the last 15 years, almost twice. So I had a chance to go visit indigenous tribes in the Amazon several times, like last April and last August again. I was with Cacique Raoni there. And I learned, so I started to work with a lot of chefs over there, a lot of producers, and I was able to bring here things that you probably won't find, here, that tells the story of the cuisine. So I built this book, which is basically a postcard. It's really a postcard to create interest and fill people's mouth with all sorts of curiosity and water, so they can get in a plane and go there. So,
and let's talk about something for a brief minute. So this journey has been this long. You were how old when you started?
I was 23 when I started.
This whole book, he was 23 when he started this project, and so kudos to you, because here you are with like the biggest 53, fish in the world.
This is the scientific name for this fish is arapaima. The indigenous name is pirarucu, which is a white fish, and we're going to cook some of that later on today. And so we are the only school, the CIA is the only school in the States that received this fish. I received an ambassadorship from the folks in the Amazon, and they sent me that fish for me to present and educate the people. So it was fun. Yeah.
And also, there's a little encyclopedia in here, which I think this is great, because for me especially, I know nothing about these specific foods that come from that region, and so for somebody to travel there to actually, look at something, especially if you can't communicate with somebody in that language.
I didn't want a traditional glossary. I wanted something that people can see, and if they travel in a street market or in a restaurant, they see the item, see the name, and they can recognize what it is. So I put what I think is the 99 ingredients that can safely navigate through a menu for the guests. So that's basically what it is. And the book travels from region to region, have a little bit of the set background on the cuisine itself and the influences and how the cuisine started and why we eat the way we eat, why we cook the way we cook. And then I go from region to region to region, starting in the south, because my ancestors came from Braga in Portugal and Cerro in the south, and then finish in the Amazon, because I believe the Amazon is the next frontier for cuisine and for cookery. So that's where the ingredients that very few people know is coming out. So I started in the south and finished in the north.
Yay!
Yeah.
Well, let's go. So yeah, and I want you to talk about everything.
Okay, so I'm taking you.
This is a tomato.
A few things,
Yes.
yeah?
Okay. I know.
Beautiful. So what we have in here, I have several chilies that is basically the Brazilian chilies. We have this chili over here called dedo de moça, which translates to lady finger, and then this little chili here called bico, biquinho, because that's designed with a little nose like that. They both a little sweet, they fruity and everything, but they both have a little bit of a surprise hit in the end. And then there is the mother chili of Brazilian cuisine, which is very much associated with the Afro-Brazilian cuisine, which is the African Brazilian cuisine. This is intense.
Don't eat. Yeah, I would die.
This, be careful on that. Enjoy it, but then all caution right there. And then there is this stew over here, which is called bode. Bode translates to gold. And we have a sweeter one. Once it matures, it turns red, and then, the other kind, it turns yellow. So one is a little bit hotter than the other. This is a little bit hotter than that, but they both have a little fruity element over there. They're both very delicious to serve. And then the mother root, the most important ingredient on Brazilian cookery, which connects every state. Yucca,
and I didn't
which
know
is basically
that this originated
manioc. This originator is a Brazilian product, originated in the Amazon forest, the last gluten-free root discovered, really, right? And every state produces, every state eats. No household would have what they call farinha, which is flour, manioc flour. A lot of this is a very sustainable root. The skin goes to feed animals. The manioc itself gets grinded, then you squeeze the liquid, gets fermented for cooking, and then the flour becomes, farinha that they use, and the starch is what they use for thickening agents, and they use to make the famous bread cheese, the pão de queijo.
So how
that
is this?
Over there is indigenous tribes back in the day. They start to make this they call peneiras, which is a little basket with banana leaves. These have manioc flour inside. And what it is, neighborhood to neighborhood, family to family, tribe to tribe, they will make this, and then they share with each other, and then they exchange amongst each other. This comes from the North Brazil in the Amazon region, from a little town called Bragança. Who made this was a gentleman named Seu Bené, and I spent time over there visiting him. So manioc is very, very important.
So the yucca I kind of equate to like taking a whole pig and using every single piece from the organs to the meat to the tail.
And there are several varieties, like 3,200 varieties that have the sweet.
Of yucca?
Yeah,
3,200.
Yeah, there is the sweet and there is the sour. The sour is what they consider poisonous because there is the acid on the root and on the leaf. However, once you cook and change the water several times, you can eat. But the leaf of the sour manioc, the indigenous people grind it, and then they use on their arrows to hunt. This is an indigenous tribe in the Amazon makes this, and the reason they make this small is to perfectly fit a piranha out of the river. So they get the piranha that they kill anything.
Piranhas?
Yeah. And then they put over here and then they cook on flames. As a matter of fact, piranha
let me see
is
that.
very delicious.
So this is made out of yucca too?
No, this is made from the tree itself where the yucca come in.
The yucca. Okay,
so
but they're
they
still
make
using.
this. They use the root and then they use the leaves.
A nasty little thing.
And they gave it to me, so I brought some of that.
Anybody pisses me off.
Oh, exactly. That's a perfect. You should keep it. And so that's basically what it is.
I will keep one in the kitchen.
So again, I have all the flavors of Brazil in here. And the flavors of Brazil is basically a couple things: chilies, the green herbs that might be green onions and cilantro and parsley, those kind of things, the peppers, and then two spices over here that is very important. One is ground anaro seeds. And the other one is ground açafrão. Açafrão is turmeric. This turmeric comes from the central region of Brazil, so we use a lot of that.
So did you just put this stuff in your pockets when you flew back? How does that work? I don't know. I'm like, this is authentic.
No, I got very creative over the years.
This old shampoo bottle is.
Yes, I got very creative.
This is why this is a very special day here, because we are having authentic, not off-the-shelf bottled stuff. So, wow.
So this over here is also important, but this is basically associated with the Afro-Brazilian cuisine. This is called dendê oil. This is the red palm oil. It's very rich. It smells like a little,
use it like
a little
an
nut.
oil?
They use like an oil and use as a finishing dish. And so it's
It
very...
sounds like a little paprika.
Exactly, there is a little that flavor, and it smells a little bit like walnut oil when it's just turning,
a little
bit rancid or fermented. So the Afro-Brazilian dishes that we're gonna use that in a couple of dishes that have a Afro-Brazilian influence. But first, I'm gonna take you to the south.
Okay.
The south.
Take me to the south.
Sounds great. Is the state of Santa Catarina? They know from their oyster beds.
Say that slower.
Santa
Catarina.
Exactly.
Okay, you talk faster than I do with an accent. So
Perfect. And then I get nervous. My accent get even more intense, right? So they get beautiful oysters over there. And this over here is the colors of the flag, the manioc yellow and the herb green. And then the oysters from the south. And we produce a lot of melon on that region. So we create basically a melon mignonette.
Oh, yum.
You know, so we're gonna do this little
For the
oyster with a mignonette. So I got a little bramois of melon over here, and then I have some green onions.
And are these recipes in this book too?
Some of the recipes are, and again, because I didn't want to build a cookbook, I want a cuisine book.
Right.
So there is dishes that I created that I tell what the dishes is and explain what the dishes mean to the cuisine, but they can search for recipe. But there is a few dishes that I really
It's a
like.
juicy
Yeah,
one.
this is just
Is
delicious.
that a super hot one?
No, you should taste a little,
Okay.
right?
No, I mean I do like spicy. I just don't
No,
like kill me
this won't
spicy.
hurt you. You're gonna be really nice. Have nice
Oh,
fruity
yeah.
there. Have a little bit acidity. That vinegar you can taste it.
Wow.
And this also is just delicious. So,
I think I also want to learn about these bowls here.
okay.
Because
They call cuya.
these were all handmade.
Mm-hmm.
And from all different villages and different locations.
yeah.
I mean, just the story of them making these, and this is what they served in, and this is
Right.
what they ate from.
So we have a big history on clay in Brazil. So the noble clay, which came with the influence of the Portuguese, is the red and the gold, and the African clay, which was the indigenous clay, is the black. So that is a little bit of a history over there. So, and those little things that you see from shells, coconut shells, those called cuyas. And that's what the indigenous people used to eat their food and drink their juices and that kind of stuff. So, and then this clay over here with the design is representative of different tribes. This is Kayapó tribe, this is Juruna tribe, the blue in here is a Juruna tribe, and this is the Kayapó tribe, which is the tribe
We're not
of
that
Cacique.
creative in America. We
Cacique.
really need to like.
We're working on it.
I feel like really, yeah.
Yeah, we're working on. We
This
need a little help.
Gorgeous.
So in here, so I just kind of gonna organize my mise en place here. So you can see, you know, we work at a culinary school.
Right.
So mise en place, we live and die with mise en place,
Oh, yeah.
right? So we just kind of
Cut down on time.
Exactly. So I always about mise en place over here just to make sure that we're in good shape.
Yeah, so you do currently teach at the CIA.
Yes, I'm a culinary arts professor for the Culinary Institute of America. I'm there since 2007. I graduate every AOS, they graduate from that school since 2007, AOS 1. So in here, I have lime juice, the melon, I have some aromatics in here. I have those little chilies in there.
Wow.
And then I'm gonna put a tiny bit of olive oil. I got a little nice olive oil over here. And I'm just gonna put over here. But the important part over here is when you use olive oil, you generally try to stay away from the ice. I actually want the
So
oil
coagulate?
to coagulate. I want to be a little bit textural. And flavor-wise, it's gonna be just plain black pepper and sea salt in here. Here we go. And then garnish, we're gonna have tapioca. Tapioca is also made from manioc. This is made from the starch. You can see little tapioca pearls over here.
Oh, wow, I don't think I've ever felt it, and it's like
you can eat right there. So we're gonna take a
can try
little
it?
bit, sure. And this comes from an indigenous tribe in the center of Brazil, in the basin of the Amazon forest. So in here, I'll
You
take
brought
this.
over, so we're very
know,
creative when you
it's
brought all this stuff over.
It's a beautiful thing. You learn
It
those
tastes
things.
like rice, not Rice Krispies, but puffed rice.
Uh-huh,
almost.
And here I'm gonna take a little saffron in one, and I'm gonna take a little bit annatto in the next one. Okay, so far, so good. I'm gonna basically season this a little bit.
And if you wanted to make like full-on tapioca, which
And then you cook this in water.
Right, okay.
And then you bake. As a matter of fact, I tell you, the U.S. consumes a lot of manioc without even knowing it. You grew up eating tapioca pudding,
Oh,
it's
yeah.
out of there.
Yeah.
And U.S. purchased more manioc than almost any country in the world outside Brazil. And the reason we purchase manioc is for the capsule. Every time you take a
right.
leaf with the gel
The covered
capsule,
gel.
that's
Oh,
made out of the
interesting.
starch of the manioc and the petroleum oil industry. They use the lubricant for the drills to get oil is made out of manioc. So it's an important,
Interesting.
it's an important thing. So in here, I got the oyster. So I'm gonna make.
Pretty. And so what type of oysters
Gonna,
did you?
this I got over here, Hog Island over
Oh,
here.
nice.
Just a nice little Tomales Bay oyster over here. And I'm gonna do one, and I'm gonna take a little plate over there, and I'm gonna do one for you. So this gonna rest right here.
Great.
And for you, I'm gonna put it.
Are
just
oysters something that you could find in anywhere in Brazil?
Yeah,
Okay.
especially on the region in the south.
Okay.
And they have beautiful oyster beds over there. Is almost like the oysters from back east because the water is a little bit warm, so they get a little bit briny, which makes the oysters really delicious, right?
I love this idea of a mignonette with
So we have a
melon.
little mignonette in here,
I love that.
and then you're gonna have.
And so this is just for texture, really.
There's a little
Okay.
bit texture, huh?
Look at that. Oh, we have to save one for a photo too. That is so gorgeous.
Try that.
Oh my gosh.
With that rosé, actually should
Oh
be
my
really
God, you don't
tasty.
have to ask me twice. Holy smokes.
Then this goes into.
Oh, I love the tapioca
Yeah,
texture.
it's good, right?
Wow. It's like vague sweetness, but nice spice.
Yeah, it just kind of goes really well, and the fruit is just delicious in there, right? So I'll put over there, that
gosh.
way we can photograph,
Wow.
and the folks over there can take a look.
This is
So-
what I don't think I've ever licked a shell before.
Well,
Wow.
that's a good start there, so we're on the right
That is-
direction.
So lovely.
So this is how we're going to start. So we're on the right direction, I think,
I love
right?
those peppers because it just is hitting me at the back. Just the
Yeah, it
perfect
comes behind.
note.
It comes behind. So now we're gonna do 2 seafood dishes, okay? So
You
in
better
here,
drink a little more rosé there because we're going to be hitting up some of
we're
this
gonna hit
tasty stuff
cachaça.
over
Yeah.
here.
Oh, we need to talk
So,
about cachaça
yeah.
pretty soon.
Cachaça. I need to be able to pronounce it before I can't when I drink some. Cachaça.
That's right. So okay, so that will be now dish number 2, and manioc root that I took the liberty
Okay.
of lightly cook. Okay.
And
This is gonna
you
be.
would, like steam that or?
Yeah, I steam that just in seasoned water, like salted water,
Okay.
right? So this is gonna be a dish called bobó de camarão. Camarão is shrimp, bobó is the sauce. So I'm gonna use this guy here, and it's a manioc root sauce.
And are you cooking this? Can
Cooking
I try
that.
this? And
You
it's
can.
raw
Yeah,
infancy?
it's right here is just lightly tender. So you still
looks
have a
like,
little bit
palm.
texture. Yeah, it's really right. The palm in here, for example, this is pupunha palm.
Oh,
So there's hearts of palm, but that is just the root, and you can do like a smash this, fry this. It's just
right.
delicious,
It has
right?
a starchy potato.
That is, lots of starch in there. But again, it's gluten free, which is
Wow.
a perfect thing. So in here, we're gonna make a little sauce, okay? So let's get this guy here,
Oh.
and you have a beautiful setup over here. I think this is
Yes.
good,
Yep.
and you help me. You
Yep,
know
yep,
the
yep,
stove.
you bet,
You
yep.
help me on that.
Yeah,
in
have
case,
you, have
in
you
case
cooked
I
on
get in
these monogram?
No, this is way
These
too
are
fancy.
awesome because, yeah, once you pull it off, it starts beeping, so it lets you know that it's still hot.
No, this is amazing. I come from the jungle. I don't have this kind of stove.
You could start a little song with that. I come from the jungle.
So here, you're gonna have a few little flavors over
You
here.
know what? I think because this is a smaller pot, it's probably
Yeah, you wanna get a larger pot?
Yeah,
That'll
I think
work.
so.
That'll work for
Only
us.
because it's testing its surface area there.
Okay. So I'm gonna chop a little bit garlic, a little bit ginger, okay, and a little bit onions, and that should become the aromatics of this.
This is the one thing it starts to talk to you
Perfect.
because it's like, yes.
Oh, beautiful. This dish is gonna take a little bit this oil.
Oh, the
So
palm
this,
oil?
yeah.
Okay.
So we're gonna start it out with that. We're gonna make the sauce first, and then we're gonna cook the shrimp in the sauce. So just a little bit.
And that's its natural color?
Yeah, this is the red palm tree.
Wow.
So it's really, really something.
Are you okay with a regular spatula, or do you want to wooden spoon?
Yeah, we're in good shape with the spoon. We're perfect in that. So this, once it gets to the heat, you're going to go aromatics, okay? And we're just gonna sweat them. The sound looks like it's getting heat, huh?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah, it's talking.
perfect. It's talking. And then in here, I'm gonna take this. So several flavors in Brazil. Brazilian cuisine have a little bit of history and connection with Moorish cuisine because the Moorish controlled Portugal for so long, and Portugal basically, control Brazil and discover Brazil, right? So our cuisine is built on top of sofrito.
Okay.
Pretty much like all the African cuisine. So in here, for example, is the traditional sofrito like you normally do at home with the tomatoes and peppers and onions, and then you cook to full caramelization until it becomes a jam. So we build a lot of dishes on top of sofrito. Here, have this aromatic. Here, have then the oil. Sofrito gonna go in, and then gonna go a little bit of the just plain tomato sauce, a little bit of coconut milk, and then manioc juice. And that's the sauce.
Okay.
That sauce later, which transfer over here, gets puree. On the same pan, the shrimp goes in and gets sauteed, and then it's finished with lime juice. So in here, you're gonna have really simple flavors, but delicious flavors. So sofrito gonna go next, okay?
And for those of you just tuning in, we are here live at the studio, and Chef Da Fonseca. If you got me really drunk with that stuff, I wouldn't be able to keep saying it. And he's teaching us his Brazilian cuisine. This is very fascinating because he actually stuck all of this in his chest on the flight here from Brazil. Some maybe in other locations, I don't know. We'll maybe learn about that off the air. But it's very interesting how much is sitting here that is not from the States. But we get to try it all. So should I be?
Yeah. Just so you all know, I do have a studio. Woo! I have a studio in Sebastopol.
Okay.
That is basically a museum for Brazilian cuisine. I have all the artifacts over there where I show my website. I have a website. Can I mention?
Oh, yeah.
www.chefalmirdafonseca.com. And we have our book there. We have our recipes there and videos. Have all sorts of things.
This is your show, man. Today's
So
your day. Talk about what you want.
Good. Okay. Now it's basically manioc stock, really, right?
Which is nice because it's almost like taking the water from boiled pasta.
That's
with
right.
That starch.
That's
so it's
exactly
thickening
right.
agent.
That's exactly right. So in here,
I'm sorry. What was this again?
now it's coconut milk.
Oh, coconut milk.
Just really
and a whole
rich
not
coconut milk.
light.
No,
yeah,
just
not the light stuff.
just full. So in here, two flavorings.
That's so good.
Amaro.
And you want it on medium, just so it's
I think you're in good shape in
okay.
there. Turmeric, there.
Legit.
A little
turmeric.
bit salt, a little bit pepper. Now, this dish generally have a little bit of a personality and a little bit attitude, so I need to work on this chili here. Is that okay?
Yes, please.
So in here, I'm gonna put 2, but the rosé is nice. We'll put it 3.
Yeah.
So we'll
Give
get that.
Yeah, I like that
going.
attitude. You could do like a 5-star attitude. Like what? How many attitude stars does this dish have?
Yeah, this is gonna be a little bit thing. So now you have a really beautiful color. It's a beautiful dish, and we're gonna take a tasting spoon. And if you taste that, and you're gonna see that I already have a little bit that kind of Afro taste to it. and this through reduction, you're going to see that thickening gonna be. So in here, that is already, a flavor.
Oh, wow.
There we go. Now it's ready to go.
I
See
was
the little
just gonna
pepper in
say
the
there's
end?
a little curry to that, but then I thought, okay, well, it's the coconut, so.
So in there, we're gonna have already, I'm gonna finish with a little lime juice. And the sauce is virtually done. I'm gonna use this vessel here to puree. Okay? So I have your hand blend over there. And then this shrimp gonna go directly in there with a little bit more. So this is gonna go in here. Perfect, like that. Beautiful.
And so you're going to just use the residuals on this.
Exactly. So now we're going to get that hot, and we're going to put another little drop of this guy here.
Can you buy this in the States?
Yeah, there is a shop in Marin. That is a Mexican market called Azteca Market. On occasion, they have a version of this. It's not the best quality because it's mixed a little bit because it's too rich for our market. But you're going to find it.
That's what I was going to ask, is what's the difference between like the culinary or the cholesterol intake from like
it's big.
Okay, it's higher than a standard olive oil.
Oh my. Olive oil.
Okay.
Olive oil, I have nothing on this guy.
Okay.
So right here, I'm just going to season with a little bit of salt and pepper. And you're basically just going to saute. It's a dry saute really, right? Because this shrimp is served on that. So once we flip this guy here, perfect. Once we flip that guy there, and then we're going to flavor. We're gonna flavor.
I'm gonna pour myself some more.
Okay. And then we're gonna add lime juice.
Okay.
So let me make the sauce in here.
Starting to get a little. Are you looking for a little sear or
Yeah,
just
I'm gonna get a little sear. It's gonna be super tender on the inside.
See, this is the beauty of having our own network where I can just drink at my own.
It's a beautiful thing. I tell you, this is probably the best studio I ever filmed. This is such a well set up studio, and you can do so much in here. So fortunate that you invite me to do this thing.
Oh my God, are you kidding me? I was so excited. He popped in with this book, and he was just like this kid in a candy shop, and I was like, oh, we have to do something. That's looking pretty good.
Yeah, you can flip it now.
Oh yeah, baby. Oh, I love that. Nice. So from marine biology to cooking little shrimps on a skillet.
Yeah, I tell you, I have family members that said, see, you learn how to grill in Brazil, and then you became a chef. And that is true. I butchered my first whole cow when I was 10 years old. I come from 6th generation of farmers, right? So I've been butchering all the time. As a matter of fact, I butcher big animals for the CIA all the time, right? So when I start over here, I start to kind of cook proteins, and people start to see, wow, this guy has something that not too many chefs over here. So I start to do. When I was a chef in the city, I used to do a lot of grilled proteins with fruit sauces. And most people wasn't doing that back in the 80s. I was doing fish with tropical sauce because it was part of the DNA, right? It's coming out like that. So they're basically that. Now you're going to give me a little plate for you. And we're gonna do.
Or do you want this big guy?
I can plate you on here.
Have a smaller one.
I can plate you on this. And we're just gonna do that. So in here, we're going to deglacier.
Yeah, baby.
With a little bit cachaça.
I thought he was pouring me.
But I can pour you. Yeah, no, not you.
Well, no, I'm gonna wait for you to finish your portion.
And
I won't be the lush yet.
And a little bit more lime juice. There we go. Awesome. Now it's getting nice and translucent. We're almost there. So we have the barbecue sauce.
Nice. The thing I do like about this induction burner too is that it's an even heat, because sometimes when you have gas, and we do have gas over here, but you're sometimes like moving a pancake over, or you moving fish over, and you're like, where is it even?
No,
this is like a full
and this produces heat very fast.
Very
so
fast.
It's just amazing that we're gonna be able to get all these dishes out for sure. Okay, we good?
Yeah.
So now we can
Yep,
go
yep,
out
yep.
of the heat. And
Oh, look at that. Oh, that's so cool. Are these the same peppers that I see at, say, Whole Foods in the olive section?
I don't.
There's
I'm
little
not sure.
red,
There
yeah,
is
they're
some
little,
in
they
there.
look similar to that.
So try that. This is bobó de camarão.
Yeah, I'm gonna put this on here so you can actually see it. I love that your knife says chef, like, that's your don't F with me.
Yeah, it was actually a group
Chef.
of students that gave me as a gift.
All right, I'm gonna get in here.
You should.
I love the way
Yeah,
you
it's
plated
nice and
this.
tender.
You wanted me to
and-
eat this one,
Oh,
right?
that's
Okay,
yours.
okay,
Yeah.
okay.
No,
It's just so pretty.
This is yours. Nice and tender. Got a good caramelization.
And should
It's
I
gonna
like?
be tasty.
should
Oh
I
yeah,
do a
sure.
little cutscene on this?
Exactly.
You're not gonna kill me, right?
Well, you're fun to cook with. I appreciate it. Have a lot of African
Wow.
flavors on this plate.
Right. I was just, yeah. And
Lot
there's
of
just a
African
faint
flavors on
smokiness.
this
Is that
plate.
from the palm?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Wow. That is really just, it's mild, but it kind of attacks you at the back. Yum. I'm loving all of this cuisine so far. You're welcome back anytime.
The next time you're gonna have to go there and see for yourself.
Oh my gosh. Well, I do kind of want to hear about the last time you were in the Amazon. You were talking about actually seeing the fire from a
Yeah,
distance.
so we were in a place that was really close where the fires were,
Wow.
that we could actually, smell that
Oh,
fire. So this is
wow.
bobó de
Chef,
camarão.
that is
You like
killer.
that?
And the pepper too.
Yeah,
It's
it's
just
tasty, so tasty, right?
tasty and bright, but the slightest bit of heat. And the shrimp, I love that you just kind of seared it so lightly.
Yeah, it's basically the shrimp is just a vessel of the sauce. The star of the
Right.
show is the sauce. So next is a really fun dish because it's a poached fish in coconut water, and we love coconut water, right?
I do
So-
love coconut. I drink coconut water.
Coconut
quite a
water
bit.
is a lot of fun. So in here, I have the pot, and this whole dish is going to be based on what's going to come from here. So we have coconut
Do you
water.
need this anymore?
No, we can park here for a little bit. So in here, we have coconut water. Just straight out coconut water so far.
And the ones with the legitimate chunks in it too. Okay.
And we're gonna poach the fish right in there. But we're gonna flavor that thing really, really well. So this should be enough. And just like when you do poaching, you start, cooler, and then you
Yep.
bring it up the temperature accordingly. So
I'm gonna see if it. I don't think it's gonna allow me.
ginger gonna be a good flavor for that. Plenty green onions gonna be a good flavor for that.
You want me to turn this up?
You can turn
Okay.
it off. Cilantro gonna be a good flavor for that.
So it's just green onion, the coconut water.
So far,
And-
that's it.
What are these guys again? Ginger?
Ginger.
Oh, ginger.
And then chilies. Chilies here gonna be 2 bodes yellow and 2 bodes red
Woo!
to offset, yeah.
And
And
you're just
then-
gonna be.
And just that so far.
Yeah, you're induction.
You're in good shape. And then a little bit lime in there. Some garlic. And some onions. So this over here, we're gonna bring to temp, okay? So once the temp is coming,
It's not liking this so far.
you wanna change to a skillet? I can do it in a skillet.
Yeah, let's see.
There we go. So we can do a shallow poach, will be fine. Oh, perfect.
Which is interesting because this is induction.
We can go to
buddy.
that larger one too if you like.
This is all the fun like playing in the kitchen.
So in here we're gonna use that fish.
This is cool.
It's a beautiful, beautiful pirarucu. So I'm gonna
And so say that the fish again.
called pirarucu. Pirarucu is pira, which is tail, uku, red. So this over here, the indigenous name for this is urucum. So urucu, pirarucu, means red. This over here is one of the oldest natural pigment that the indigenous people use. That's why you see a lot of indigenous people in the forest painting in red.
Oh, right.
Is the pigment from this seed over here, and the reason they use that is to protect from the sun. You know, so that's basically what they use there. So we're gonna do two nice portions.
And did you have to debone these or these?
Yeah, they came just a fillet. So far we're in good shape. So this over here, I'm not gonna season this. I'm just gonna season it with a little bit salt, just to denature the protein a little bit.
So if somebody wanted to replicate this dish, though, and they didn't have this very unique fish.
This lincado will be
lincado,
phenomenal, halibut will be phenomenal, and the sauce, you research the sauce called muqueca. M-O-Q-U-E-C-A, muqueca. And it's a very traditional sauce. It's made of tomato and peppers and coconut and those kind of things. So here, rather than do the fish on that rich sauce, I'm gonna use this flavoring to flavor the rich sauce and then build from that. And then it should give me everything that I need.
Kind of curious to try this before it's actually made into
a broth.
a broth. Because I've never thought of poaching anything in actual coconut water before.
You're gonna love it. And the texture of coconut water is interesting because it gives a lot of texture on the fish because it doesn't cook like plain water. Right? Because all that meat and that fruit in there. So that would be pretty good.
That I could just
you can
use
do that.
coconut
You
water
can do that.
I use
No
water
problem.
all the time,
No
but
problem.
that just completely
So in
adds
here, so I know that so we can probably get a second skillet in here, and then we begin the base of the sauce. That's gonna be pretty good.
I'm gonna get a bigger one for you.
So everything
here,
is
so we got a
perfect.
big shot.
So far we're in great shape. Okay.
Who's this guy? You want this on a high heat while
You can turn it on. And then we're gonna make the sauce from that. Some of that liquid gonna go in there, and then we're gonna do the same thing we did earlier. We're going to purify. Okay. So in here, I have just plain rice. You know, Brazil we eat a lot of beans, and then we eat a lot of rice too. So this rice over here gonna be the base of the dish. So just plain cooked. You can do vegetable stock or
you would
or
have
chicken
this cold?
stock. Yeah, this over here, I just cooked in a few minutes ago. It's still sweating over
got
here.
it. Okay.
So this is going to be introduced a little bit this liquid and then some aromatics, okay? So this rice is going to have a little bit of a punch.
So pretty. And so for those people watching, if they should purchase this, how can they purchase
It's
this?
right on your website. You go to my website, www.chefalmirdafonseca. The first page is right there.
I think it's funny that people still say that. Like, why?
And I tell what.
Because it's kind of obvious that it's.
But do you know what? I was just telling one of the students, you know, I didn't graduate into actually through, you can bring it down, to actual true cell phone until like few months ago. So
really?
yeah, I still walking around with a BlackBerry.
Okay.
Yeah, you know. When I started the CIA, I used to have like a Nokia, and my colleagues used to say, "Chef, I will bring your weapon today." They told me that was nuts. Yeah, so I just got not too used to that. So here, it's basically you transform this into what? Into a coconut rice. That's basically what you're doing over here, right? So
so there's no milk, for instance, but
that's
there's the coconut water.
So in here, this liquid is a really beautiful flavor, very light, very tender.
Ginger.
And this liquid go over here, and then we're going to organize the.
Wow. Yum.
And then we're going to organize the rice.
You still want this? You still want this oven on?
Yeah.
Right?
Mhm. And so far, I think we're looking good. We are already on virtually done on dish number 3 already. Like that.
Yeah. I'm loving how this is set
So
up
in
already,
here,
'cause it's very
we're
simple.
gonna organize the fish in there. We're gonna flip the fish only once.
So you're gonna poach this and then we're gonna sear it?
No, it's just gonna be
so
straight out, nice and white. We're gonna flip the fish.
Oh, this is for the sauce.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
So in here, we got the sauce in here. And gonna be just a little base of tomato. This plain, just smashed tomato, okay? There we go.
Okay, so just crushed tomatoes.
Just that. And then gonna have now coconut.
And so is coconut a prominent
Yeah,
item
especially
too?
from Afro-Brazilian cookery.
Okay, I would say Afro-Brazilian.
Then the oil.
And if somebody didn't have palm oil, what would you suggest?
Actually, I tell you what, there is markets like Whole Food have palm oil. Red palm oil is come from Asia, very commonly used right there. So in good shape. So here, look at that. The fish is virtually.
Yeah, that's going quick, huh?
Virtually done. And we want the fish nice and tender. Look at that. It's a good way to keep your fish pristine, right? So in here.
Ready.
So we got really, really good poaching liquid over here, okay?
This already smells good.
Really good poaching liquid over here. This now is flavors that are going to be finishing the sauce. So the sauce
Bring it together a little
and this gonna be done virtually at the same time.
And we need another plate for that.
And we're in good shape in here. I'm gonna use this African clay over here to build.
And where did this plate come from?
This come from a place that they call Goiabeiras, which is in the state of Espírito Santo in the southeast region. They master clay makers. They make that all natural, and they use the sap of a tree to make this really dark so it doesn't split. So it's really nice. They've been doing this for hundreds and hundreds of years.
So how does it feel to actually have the book done? Because that
Oh my God.
I can only imagine. I mean, I've been
I'll take a little plate for you.
building this company for only 9 years, and
Yeah,
that seems like an eternity.
It's
and I'm
not
like,
easy.
I can't
It's
imagine.
not easy. And again, I mean,
Just having the patience to actually.
Yeah, and
continue
I
to
tell
pursue
what,
that.
during the research, I used to collect the information and then pass along for 6, 8 people so they read to write me like little essays and tell me what they learned. And then I will compare, and then if it wasn't a message that crossed, I will take it out. So I started out with like 2,000 some pages to finish with a book with like 400 pages. So it's not for everybody. You definitely age during the process.
Yeah.
So
Yes.
in beautiful shape on sauce over there. Now liquid gonna go in, okay? So
You want me to turn this up a little bit? I was just making
yeah,
sure.
you can. So it's gonna be like a rich brodo,
Okay,
basically. So now you have a good base for that sauce. And it looks like could use a little bit salt. It looks like could use a little pepper. And then looks like could use a little bit of the acidity from one of the chilies.
The juice.
Okay. Now we're gonna get a little vessel and we're going to parade that.
And what outside of Brazilian cuisine is your? Don't say like In and Out. what do you enjoy outside
What I like to
of-
eat? Well, I tell what, I like to eat basically any food as long as honest food. As long I have a little bit of a pet peeve of going to a restaurant, read the menu, and by the end of the menu, you still have no idea who the chef is.
Right.
You know, I think there is a lot of people cooking somebody else's food rather than have the
their heart on
confidence
plate.
to cook their own. So you're beautiful right there. So now we can shut it off. I'm gonna transfer to here and I'm gonna puree it nice and tender. Now this guy here.
Oh.
So it takes a little bit confidence and maturity to feel that you can cook your own food, right? So I think that was one of the things that I saw earlier
Here,
was,
come over here a little bit.
okay,
So you're not
off the camera. You know, I
I'll get you that.
was being able to feel confident to cook your own food. So
Right. Well, it is. It's an expression on a plate. It's putting,
Right,
it's putting your
right.
heart and soul on a plate. And if you can't, yeah, if you're in the back of the kitchen,
yeah, it makes it really difficult. So in here, so we have all nice and organized here. Fish is virtually done. You like fish a little bit to the tendon inside,
yeah.
right?
Yeah, yeah.
Okay. So in here, we're good. Let me fill this guy here.
Yeah, I love
Beautiful.
this idea. I never
Perfect
thought of
right there.
that.
So garnish over here is hearts of palm.
Yum. Pretty. Yeah, it's like I'm usually not at a loss of words. Usually I'm just like yapping the whole time. Everything is so pretty that it's just, I want to take it all in.
Hearts of palm, I just love hearts of palm. I think that's a great, great, great herb.
And typically serving it cold, right, is the best.
Yeah, it's almost like you put a little hearts of palm salad on top of a
Right.
very light fish. Okay, let's set this little guy here. Because the sauce is tomato. Okay, we ready?
Yeah. I love that dish. That is so pretty.
The fish, just
Oh, it's
beautiful.
perfect.
Yeah.
Perfect.
Just like separating the lines, right? This is a good broth. Should keep that broth.
Yeah, absolutely.
This over here is better.
So pretty. Oh, look at that. So Chef Almir Da Fonseca.
Da Fonseca.
This is his the Brazil Project cookbook and educational culinary book. Less a cookbook. I keep using that
A
term,
cuisine,
but
yeah.
a cuisine book all about the culture in Brazil. So if you do want to learn about the cuisine in Brazil, which is extremely fascinating, and I've learned already so much today, and we're not even done, definitely pick up his book because you'll be learning a multitude of things from his country and the cuisine there beyond. And I think, yeah, I've already learned so much from just the
Tried that.
3 dishes you've. Wow, look at that. Woo-wee. There's a camera there. I'm not really crazy, people.
This is a delicious dish. The original dish is very rich. This becomes very light,
Oh, wow.
very friendly. You can do this at home, no problem.
The first word that comes to mind is clean.
Yeah, it's really
just very
clean,
clean
and
light.
and coconut milk is great juice to cook with.
Look at that smoke. We need to get like a time lapse of that.
Okay, that's
Oh,
dish.
the peppers.
That's dish
Wow.
2 and 3. So we're ready to go into dish 4 and 5.
Wow. Woohoo! I just got a big chunk of pepper.
A little zing. Next
Yeah.
dish is a very important dish. It's the mother dish of Brazil,
Oh, okay. The
called
mother dish.
feijoada.
Feijoada?
Feijoada, feijão, beans, feijoada, bean stew.
Bean stew.
So we're
okay.
gonna do a version of bean stew. That bean stew is all based on black beans and the great pork. So we're gonna do pork 4 ways on this dish.
Pork 4 ways. How many pans do you need for that?
No, we're in good shape. We're gonna
good
be able
shape?
to
Okay.
pull it off very nice. We're doing good in time.
We got time.
I'm gonna save this juice over here for you in case you want later, okay?
I'm not getting rid of this till I'm done with it. Oh my gosh.
Okay, now reorganize. Reorganize.
Yeah, and the coconut just having poached the fish. It's
really,
a vague
it's really
sweetness.
nice.
It's a vague sweetness, but
I really like the idea of using coconut as a broth because it makes so much sense.
wow.
So in here, there is a lot of components on this dish, but gonna be easy, you're gonna see. So here is chiffonade of collard greens.
This is, cheers.
I
yes,
apologize.
Yes. No, it's all right. There's plenty. This is why I do like this specific show, Cooking Culture, because so many of our other shows delve into music and design and obviously food and wine, but this specifically hones into the culinary education of that specific cuisine. And we've had a few chefs in already, and we're starting to kick things up a little bit from a production standpoint. But just learning about this, because half of the time when we're served something on a plate, we're not hearing the back end story of it.
Right.
And so when I've always thought of Brazilian cuisine, are those chicharrones?
Mm-hmm.
Oh my. Now I have lost all train of thought. I'm going to steal one of those. Yeah, so I think cooking culture is just very important to learn about all of the different ethnic cuisines and everything from around the world and the different ingredient components.
Yeah, one thing I tell you, as a culinary educator, the service that you provide by doing this, you have no idea. Is, for all the folks out there, you think about this, the gastronomic tourism is the sector of tourism that grew the most in the last 12 years. We all know that. What you're doing, you basically open, the passport for somebody's next trip.
Right.
Because every time that you travel, if people get to a country, have a little bit of an idea of the flavors that they're going to get, the colors they're going to get, the music, how it sounds, those kind of things. It really is almost like you're being invited already to visit that place or that place or that place. And this, for me, as a Brazilian cook, this is, I can't even tell you, express, how thankful I am to even give me the opportunity.
Well, and what we should do the next time is a riffs and recipes with that musician that you
Sounds great, yeah,
yes,
the Flora,
the
I think it'll
you
be a lot of
spoke
fun,
about.
yeah, the Flora Purina,
Right.
on a cruise. So here is the national dish of Brazil, it's
wow.
black beans with pork. So we have pork 4 ways. We have the bacon, they're gonna flavor the black beans, just simply cook, vegetable stock, just plain. Linguiça, right? Pork belly, boneless pork belly that was braised on the juice that we're gonna flavor this pork stew. And then this is gonna become a snow. We're gonna shave we're gonna microplane this on top.
Awesome.
This is gonna be saved with this that is just simply sauté in olive oil with a little bit of salt and pepper. And then we're gonna garnish with a little supreme of orange. And the reason is, so this would be called feijoada completa. They usually eat this with rice, and they eat this with this, and then to light up, to pretend that this become a lighter dish, they eat a couple slices of orange. That's a fun thought. Okay, so in here, we're gonna go in here, and we can bring it.
And so kale is prevalent.
It's huge,
Yeah, okay.
huge. It's a necessity.
Okay.
It's really a big part. So in here, we're gonna flavor this guy here by using those. Okay, plain black beans, and with the back of the spoon, we're gonna start to smash this black bean over here. Once it start to get warm, a little bit of juice. I think black beans is one of the great beans. We consume a lot of black beans in there. So this, I took the liberty to brown a little bit, just to shave a little bit time of the overall process. So we're creating an aromatized pork and bean dish over here.
Yum. And if somebody wanted to replicate this, it would be okay, even though.
Oh yeah, they can start to brown the linguiça and salsas, then
Okay.
introduce their cooked beans, a little bit stock, and let it cook.
Okay.
Yeah. So in here is braising liquid. So a really good flavor of pork in here, really porky.
Oh yeah! Wow.
So I'm gonna.
Yeah. Wow.
So now that thing's gonna start to get good.
And this is something that you would keep the stock
Yeah,
liquid and use, introduce to other dishes.
A little sofrito as a base flavor. So if you're at home, if you're gonna start by building a sofrito, and then you build a sofrito, and then cook the beans on top. I have one here
So would you typically have sofrito
I
on
usually
hand?
do, like in the restaurant, for example, sofrito is such a predominant flavor that we like to use, so we're usually making batches of sofrito. This over here is going to be a garnish. This over here is manioc flour with dry chilies and dry tomato skins and all seasoned, ready to go, and this has been toasted on a camal. So this is for texture that we're going to sprinkle a little bit over and have that texture. You can see the texture of the forest. And again, you have to understand this. The farther north, the manioc flour are very, very grainy. The farther south, because the European introduction, the manioc flour is very fine, like that one. The last one is from the south region.
Oh,
and the reason is because once the European arrived there, they plant wheat. And they mill the manioc flour very thin in order to simulate wheat flour that they were accustomed to the thing. So in here is a beautiful, beautiful stuff. So we can almost park on the side over here, and then we're going to come back and season, and then we're going to go into a pork. This is working here, or shooting here, using this guy here. And then we're going to do a pork piece.
Yum, pork belly. So what's the most sought after protein in Brazil?
Well, Brazil is a beef country, right? We produce a lot of beef, but pork on indigenous dishes is predominant, and the reason was cost, right? So beef became the noble cut, and a lot of the noble cut, which means the tender cuts, would be shipped to Europe after being salted, and then the pork is what would stay for the farmers, or the tough cuts of meat. And as a matter of fact, the next dish tells a little bit of the story about the tough cuts of meat because, and I'll be right back, because the tough cuts of meat, they used to be marinated with something that they'll call chimichurri, even though that doesn't look at all like chimichurri as we know it. Chimichurri as we know have cilantro and mint and green onions. Chimichurri for the southern Brasilia is 80%, 85% bay leaves.
Oh, that's why you have bay leaves.
That's
over
right.
here.
And the reason is bay leaves is a natural tenderizer. So you can marinate a heavy protein with bay leaves, that would denature the protein, would soften the protein. And because they didn't have access to noble cuts, tender cuts, they'll take tough cuts and
wow.
So in here, so beautiful, right there. So now right here, you're going to be Afro-Brazilian dish, a little bit oil.
The palm oil, okay.
And I'm going to soften that up with a little bit of olive oil.
Do you ever use grapeseed oil?
I do. I like grapeseed oil. And again, the thing with grapeseed oil that I like the most is the texture. It cooks big, but doesn't taste big. You know what I mean?
Right. Yep.
So I think that is the kind of thing. Yeah, that's the kind of thing that I like. So it's good. So I'm just going to season this with just a little bit salt. And the reason I'm going to do
how did you prepare this?
Just sear lightly and then braise on this liquid.
Got it.
And then this liquid going to be glazed on this pork over here, and then pork, and then we're going to saute this in a nice skillet. So so the color looks really good. Everything looks pretty. Really good over there. So they're going to be served on this clay over here, okay?
These are so beautiful. So when you do catering gigs outside?
Yeah, the presentation, you know, I have a chapter on the book that talk about the history of clay in Brazilian cookery. You tell the noble clay and the African clay and how the things. And I have a chapter that I talk about the copper as well, which is a very important thing. So in here.
Oh yeah, sizzle, sizzle.
Like that sound in there. Okay, so that gonna be.
This is a very big treat. I didn't expect you to be cooking 5 dishes today. It's like I thought he would be coming in and doing talking about a couple ingreptients and then doing a dish. We've never had anybody come and do like a
we had
full
the dishes,
repertoire.
our number mise en place. I thought, your website is so amazing, and the service that you're doing with cooking culture is so amazing. I say I wasn't going to miss that opportunity. So in here. The reason I do events, if you ask me if I'm a home cook, I want to eliminate space, can I cook my greens in here? You could, however, if you introduce the greens now, we're going to introduce moisture, and then you're going to retard the the texture and color of this pork. So cook the pork and then introduce your greens, and then you should be able to build the dish, no problem. Okay, so in here, we're gonna see really, really good one side, okay? So now, let's see how.
Oh yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Oh wow.
Mm-hmm.
There's
It's
so
not
many layers to that.
not a regular
No,
black
that is
beans,
not
right?
regular black beans.
Okay.
Wow.
Okay, so here would be
That's amazing.
beginning of the dish. So you're gonna give me a little plate for you, and I'm gonna use this plate in here.
Yeah, there's just so many layers to that.
Yeah, I got a lot
There's
of flavor.
heat and
Mhm.
sweetness and a char.
This pork looks good.
Yum.
I really like pork. I like pork.
Does your wife cook?
Yeah, she's a great
Yeah?
cook. She
Okay.
can make some mean bean and rice. Actually, she wanted to cook the rice for me
Yeah, she's a photographer, and he said that she did some photography in the book.
on
so
the book. Yeah.
yeah, it's a nice,
Yeah, the whole
nice
family.
duo.
The family is a bunch of artists, and I'm the craftsman.
The craftsman.
I'm walking around with my knife and my. Okay, so this.
Are you cooking a lot of Brazilian cuisine at home, or are you?
Yeah, we
cooking
introduce a lot
outside?
of the flavors, and again, because I have that studio there, so I test a lot of those
Right.
dishes, and I was just in Brazil. I was invited to cook at the Brazilian version of the White House in April
Wow.
for the birthday of the capital. So I cooked there with a group of chefs. That was a lot of fun. Okay, so now this is gonna go in here. Now you're in good shape.
Oops.
This is one of the greatest leaf that is. This is
I
just
love
so
kale.
tasty. And
And the chiffonade is beautiful. I actually typically just kind of chop it up, but this is a really nice version of.
this you don't want to cook much, okay? You
Right.
just want to
Leave a little
instigate
crunch still.
chlorophyll, and then you should be in good shape.
Love this.
So this dish is just served like on Saturdays or Wednesday, because it's so big. Okay, we can even shut it off, this guy here. And now we're gonna organize that. So perhaps if I can get a non-slaughter spoon, it would be better.
Yeah. You betcha.
Perfect, okay.
Yeah, this is like a Sunday dish to me. It's like
Yeah,
hearty.
It's the kind of dish that you need a day off to
Yeah, yeah.
recuperate.
Yes.
And that's why they eat on Wednesday, you know,
Yeah,
to
yeah.
last the whole week.
Oh, that's good. These are all so photo worthy. Yeah, I like.
Okay, so these are gonna park right here.
So pretty. Oh, look at that. He's bringing out the real tools. So this is all the culinary, like, technical stuff that you're teaching the students.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
Yeah. Just all the little tricks of the trade. So cool. Ooh, looky, looky. Look at that. Oh my gosh, I'm not gonna need dinner tonight. All of this.
So here's important to remember, you have the colors of the flag right there, the yellow and the green.
That is so cool. Wow.
And then you have the pork.
Oh, the chicharrones. Can't forget that. I would have never thought of microplaning chicharrones. That's amazing.
Crazy stuff that
Oh
we
my
do.
gosh. Horrible. Oh my gosh. You spoiled me.
That's a good thing.
Wow, and I love that crunch. That's a nice little textural addition.
Yeah, it's really, so again, this is really through the Brazilian national dish in that. Okay, now we're gonna go back to the south, okay?
All
Beef country. We're gonna do a
And I think we have been going a while, so we're probably gonna have to
Yeah,
speed
we
this one up a little
started
bit.
there. And how we doing timing? We decent
I
shape?
want to speed it up a little bit,
Okay.
only for sake of, I mean, we've been at this, but it's fascinating. I don't want to stop, but
So I'm gonna show you the beef dish that we normally use, okay?
yum. Yeah, and the pepper component to this, I feel like that's always on the plate. That's always making a statement.
It does have a little bit of a show in there.
Oh.
So this dish, we're basically gonna need just one skillet.
Yum.
And that's it. So one skillet. So I have the meat here, marinated,
And how long have you marinated this?
24 hours.
Okay.
24 hours.
And so this is the Brazilian version of
Of the
chimichurri?
chimichurri.
Okay.
So you can
Is that
see
lemon peel?
now just herbs, bell peppers,
pepper.
onions, but you can see what the bay
It,
leaves
like,
does.
Tenderized.
It's the nature
absolutely.
completely. See?
Wow.
See how tender you get?
Wow.
So
yeah.
it gets really, really nice. So I'm gonna organize a nice piece over here
Oh,
for
wow,
us.
yeah.
You can get that skillet nice
Yep,
and
you
hot.
bet.
And we're going to sear that really, really hard, and everything gonna be building from that pan. And then we are virtually done. We're gonna do a little bread, but gonna take 10 minutes.
And we gotta try that little fancy drink over there.
We
too.
have to. So this is gonna be olive oil, okay?
Oh. Come on, buddy. You're okay with the small skillet? Because I can get a bigger one here.
We're in
if you
good
want.
shape.
It's
You
up to
can
you.
get a big one.
Okay.
Yeah, that way it will show better for them. How do you know that everybody's enjoying it? You think everybody's enjoying it?
Oh,
Everybody's
absolutely.
learning something?
You bet. I think that this is all very fascinating education. Let's see if this guy will accept on
Perfect.
here.
Oh, yeah.
I think it will.
And this is our last savory
Try
dish,
two
and then
different.
we're gonna be a drink.
Yeah, I'm very excited to thumb through this because now that I have a basis for things.
Okay, so
Yeah,
this
this
is
is
canned pork. We don't need it there. Because we're gonna build everything in one single shot. So right here, we have basically a coffee syrup, and again, Brazil is a big coffee country,
Right.
right? So this is a coffee syrup. So it's basically make coffee and reduce down a little bit the water to become a little syrup. This is the old standard reduced veal stock, right here. Beef, So here we have manioc root. And we're gonna char that too. So maybe to save time, we'll do that.
Yeah, sure.
Okay, so beef, we're good to go, right?
Sure. Yeah, it's amazing how it just kind of hit that meat and just made, you can even see
Yeah, it's
how
really
it tenderized
tenderized. It tenderized the meat for
So
sure.
bay leaf, I never
Bay leaf
knew.
is fantastic.
In
In its natural
its
form.
natural form, not dried.
No,
You wouldn't want to,
Now, usually get fresh on a laurel tree, right?
right.
And then it should be in good shape.
And it's interesting, this isn't very potent compared to the
No.
compared to the dry ones that you find. They're very
tender.
potent. Except when you obviously break it.
Yeah, and then you get a little bit of a bite in that. So in here, so in good shape, beef in good shape. The beef gonna do its thing over there all the way to the end. And then here we're going to crisp up a little bit of manioc.
Ah, yes. I like the potato kind of format.
Yeah.
Okay.
I might even take a little bit more. This is tasty.
So there's so many flavors and ingredients that are reoccurring in these dishes in just a different
Exactly.
state or...
And that is a phenomenal question because, you know, I created this teaching poster. And
Yes,
the
and
teaching
actually-
poster connects the cuisine from north to south and south to north with ingredients. So Brazil have 5 regions, right? The nationals of Brazil is national dish, feijoada, that we did, right? National spirit, cachaça, and then the national beverage, the caipirinha, that we're going to be tasting pretty soon. And then I have the north, northeast, southeast, central west, and south region. What connects the cuisines is here, which is beans, carne seca, dry beef, salted beef, right? And manioc, and then colorau or urucum, annatto seeds, herbs, and the chilies of Brazil. So that connects the whole country in one shot. So it's really interesting, you know, such a, look at that, such a big country, you know, and then we're just gonna char this.
I love okra. So many people
I do too.
despise okra. But
And
I think that if you cook it appropriately, it's
do too.
understood. But when it's not cooked appropriately and it's this slimy state, yeah.
And how you like meat?
How do I like meat?
You eat meat rare,
I don't eat meat.
medium rare. You don't. Okay, you don't. Oh my God.
No.
We were going in the right direction
Yeah,
over
no.
there.
I mean, I will eat it if it's talking to me, if you want me to.
Okay.
But I will, typically I say
Try not
medium
to.
rare, but if you want it like, you know, more
No,
more
I'll do.
raw,
I'll
then
do. I'll do a
will
medium rare
totally go
and
there.
plate a little sliver for you. So this okra here
No,
gonna do its
I
thing.
want to try it in the specific state that you
Okay.
want it done.
Perfect, thank you. So this meat over here is basically being denatured completely, so we're gonna see in all 4 directions. Look at this thing.
Oh, yeah.
That's beautiful.
Yeah,
So we're gonna park right there for a little bit. And we are pretty good. So,
Yeah.
so that's Brazil. So caipirinha is our national, manioc is our root, several chili. There are probably 70 varieties of chili. Those 5 or 6 that I brought is the most
In your pants.
common.
From Brazil.
The most common. There we go. There we go. You're looking really nice. Okay. So beef is doing good.
Yeah, that looks great. Can already get the nuances of that marinade.
Now
Oh,
I
look
can
at
shut
that.
it
I love
off
that. Pretty.
and let it sit a
Yeah,
little bit.
that's gorgeous.
Now, meat, beautiful.
And so what are you going to cook it? Medium rare?
I'm going to medium rare to medium because
Yeah.
I'm already denatured. It's so tender,
Yeah.
so you'll be in good shape.
You want this off?
Now go to coffee.
Coffee. Let me smell that. Let me smell that. So it's just literal brewed coffee.
Just brewed coffee.
Oh, okay. I thought there was something else.
No, it's just straight out. That's it.
Oh, wow.
So now these things would go. And we're in great
It's
shape.
like witch's stew. Ooh. So you're gonna let this just soak
Just
in
reduce.
and kind of
I'm
absorb all the flavors.
I'm gonna put a tiny bit of butter over there just to finish, and then salt and pepper. And that basically what you're doing, just a simple glaze,
Right.
aromatized glaze, really. So you can smell the coffee right
yeah,
here, right?
Absolutely. And so why the coffee? I mean,
Because
smells
basically, you know, it's like brewing coffee. Over there will be a stander. And then the coffee, as you know, just like tea, was cooked before we're drunk, right?
Right.
So again, they basically been using coffee to add the bitter flavor for stews for hundreds and hundreds of years. So you
Right.
notice that you can smell the little bitter note over there, and that is our
Yeah.
coffee. So in here, now it basically just mountain burr, and then we're gonna finish over there. And pork. Nice little plate here for you. Little plate over here for.
that I think is that and the black one are my
That's a
favorites.
beautiful
This one is
plate,
just gorgeous. It makes a statement.
Mm.
Yum. Yeah, that's my style. Yum. And I don't think I've ever actually seared okra in a pan before like that.
Yeah, okra is just so nice.
Oh, pretty. So please, for those of you watching, pick up his cookbook if you want to mention your website again. No, I'm serious, because I think that this is very fascinating.
Thank you so
the
much.
education itself too, and learning about the spirit of the country and
Yeah,
what
it's
brought
like
back.
it's basically is, you know, go to chef.almirdafonseca.com,
And we'll have it
and,
listed here as well if
and
his,
you're gonna find all the story of those dishes, the stories of this clay, story of all the stuff that we've been cooking over here. Gonna be fun. You're gonna enjoy it. So in here, it's good.
Yeah, we're gonna get some good photos of this. So petit. Yay.
I'm gonna cut a little bit closer to the end for you. Oh yes.
A 24-hour marinated.
Mhm.
Look at that. So awesome. Yum. I know. I'm not going to be hungry for dinner. This is awesome. So pretty. Thank you for this. This has been very special.
And then a little bit sauce.
And is that the typical time you would have?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, it's not you wouldn't have had that marinating for longer. Or
No, it's just
cooking
would
off?
denature the meat too much, especially because this is almost like a noble cut. I got a strip loin, so this is pretty good.
Wow.
Here we go. So what you think? You guys okay out there?
Yeah. Oh, I guarantee we'll have a lot of comments. Sometimes I have our hub up here and I'm answering questions. But I think there was so much to take in on this.
Put a
Oh, sorry,
little
I already
bit
got
of
into
this over here. No, a little bit over here, but you like it.
Wow. I taste the bay.
Right? You can see
Yeah.
that. You can see how really silky tender that meat is. And it's good. So, can I do a caipirinha for you?
Yeah, right.
Okay. And do a caipirinha then.
Wow.
So caipirinha gonna be lime.
Yummy. Yeah, and the okra, so great. Can you purchase this kind of liquor?
Yeah,
in the States?
actually, yeah. You know, Beverage More have a variety of cachaça called 51. It's actually pretty decent quality, and there is several other places that do specialty beverage that they have it as well. So you'll be able to do. So I'm gonna get a little bit ice.
Wow. Yeah, this is the most I've eaten on camera before, but I'm totally okay with it.
Wow, so I feel so fortunate.
Yeah, so we'll definitely have a list of all of the other chefs and musicians, actors, athletes coming in. Check it out at feastitforward.com. Obviously, this specific show, Cooking Culture, really dives into that specific culture and cuisine in that country. Hence today being Brazil. And we are honored for Chef to have graced us with his presence and taught us about all of this interesting cuisine, which now I kind of want to play. I definitely want to go home and play with, ooh, that's a lot of liquor. He just like, I want to definitely go home and poach some fish with coconut water. I'm going to do that because that completely changed my idea of things. I never ever thought to do that. So I'm cool with the wine glass here?
Yeah.
And that's it, lime, ice.
Lime, ice, a little bit sugar. I'm gonna taste it. Then I'm gonna put a little bit ice on your glass.
40%.
A little bit ice on your glass, and then.
Oh, you want me to put a little ice on my glass? Woo. And is this something people would have as an aperitif or at dinner or before dinner the whole time?
All
the time.
This is so popular in Brazil that they have fights when it's Caipirinha National Day. It's April 6th or June 12th, and then they create all sorts of dates to do that. So this is really important.
You can just drink yours out of the big. So pretty.
There we go. Try that.
Wow. Wow, it's reminiscent of a margarita in a way. Wow. That is tasty. Oh, but that could get you in major trouble quick.
Cheers. Thank you
Wow.
so much.
Cheers. Thank you for this.
I appreciate it.
This has been so lovely. And check out feastitforward.com for all of our events here at the studio, all of our live filmings with a multitude of beautiful people, including this man himself. So check out his book, please, The Brazilian Project. Cheers. Thank you for
so
joining
much.
us.
I appreciate
Yay. All right, cheers.
Thanks, everybody.
Cheers to Feasting It Forward.
Appreciate it out there.
Wow. Yeah, that
Tasty, right?
can be very naughty.